right, call to order the Indio City Sustainability Commission meeting for July 22nd. Do you want to do a roll call, Sarah?
Sure. Chair Chris,
Present.
Vice Chair Getka,
Present.
Commissioner Jimenez, present. Commissioner Liu,
Here, present.
Commissioner C. Jimenez, absent.
Okay. Why don't we do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, any public comments not on the agenda this evening?
No public comments.
Thank you. If I could, I'm just going to go out of order a little bit. Let's go over the minutes for last month if we could, and then we'll get to the presentations, please. We're going to have a little bit of an issue, Sarah. I'm going to lean on your wisdom. I'm going to have to abstain because of my absence last month. So will Commissioner Liu. We don't have a quorum for accepting the minutes for last month.
I can just push them to next month.
Please. Okay. Well, that was quick and easy. Presentations. Mr. Dafford.
Thank you. Appreciate being here today. Jason Dafford, General Manager of Valley Sanitary District. So we'll do a presentation, kind of go over some of what the district is, what they do, service area, and then ultimately at the end we'll talk about some of the projects, and specifically the projects that I think fall within sustainability and what we do to help guide ourselves down that path of local sustainability. And feel free to interrupt me at any time during the presentation so you can answer any questions. So a little bit about Valley Sanitary District. We're almost 100 years old, established in 1925. The district encompasses the city of Indio, city of Coachella, and a small portion of the city of La Quinta, as well as unincorporated Riverside County. We service approximately 28,000 connections, and our treatment plant is rated at 12.5 million gallons per day of treatment capacity. Our service area, as you can see here, as I mentioned, it's mostly the city of Indio. About 94% of our customers live within the city of Indio or work within the city of Indio. 28,000 connections, 19.5 square mile service area. We maintain over 254 miles of pipe throughout the collection system that brings all that wastewater back to the treatment plant, and we treat approximately 6 million gallons per day on average of wastewater, a little bit more in the wintertime with the influx of population, and a little bit less during the summer when we have a few less people here. A little bit about the board of directors. We're governed by a 5-member board, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and then 2 directors. Our board of directors are, divided out in wards or divisions. We officially call them wards. We attempt to, through the process, to ensure that we have equal participation or equal customers within each one of the wards. So we'll adjust those as time goes on and throughout the years. But for the most part, we're divided out, as you see here on the colors, within our service area. The district organization, we have 7 departments within the in the district. That includes our board of directors, the admin team, our collections folks, which are out in the field, engineering. We have a lab and environmental compliance, as well as a maintenance and operations team. Pretty standard org chart, as you see here, with our constituents, our customers at the very top, our board of directors, myself, the general manager, And then I have 3 managers, which then branch down into a standard, a tree of employment or org chart, as you will. This here is a photo of almost all of our employees. I think we're minus about 2 during this photo. We have 37 full-time employees at the district, including myself. One of the things I'm very proud of, last year, about this time last year, we applied for a great place to work in Riverside County. It's a process where this organization surveys your employees and determines, based on the 5 categories you see here, credibility, respect, fairness, pride, and camaraderie. They rate the answers from the employees and determine at a certain level if all of the responses are good, and you have to meet a minimum amount of participation in the survey as well. So I believe it's like 80% have to actually of the employees have to respond to the survey. Then you get the certification of the great place to work. So really proud of that. We're looking forward to going through the process again this year. The California Water Environment Association, one of our associations that helps certify and provide a lot of education and whatnot to our employees. Very, very proud of these 2 awards we received last year from the CWEA. Plant Safety Award of the Year. A testament to how hard the team works. Stay safe. I tell them every day, I want you to go home the same way you came into work, and make sure you make it back to your family safe and sound, and they take it serious and have done a great job, and this is an example of that. As well as the evolution of wastewater treatment in the Coachella Valley. This is an award for the Community Outreach Project of the Year, and if you ever get a chance to go to the Coachella Valley History Museum, you can see the actual display there that staff put together. I have a video towards the end of this presentation that highlights that award when we won up in Sacramento for CWEA, and staff built this during COVID and built it with all of the pieces of equipment and items that we had sitting at our shop or our yard, so they really didn't have to purchase anything. And so it's really neat to see. If you get a chance to go over there, please do. It's pretty cool. And the docents that are there are trained to take the students and adults through the exhibit and give them all the information that they need to know about wastewater. Now a little bit about the treatment plant. As I mentioned, we are currently treating about 6 million gallons per day. We fluctuate depending on the time of year. We utilize a conventional activated sludge wastewater treatment process. We do also have some oxidation ponds that is part of our older part of our treatment plant that we don't actively use, only when we need to during high flow, say rain events or anytime we have an issue, we can activate our oxidation ponds. So the oxidation ponds are running about 2.5 million gallons per day is the treatment capacity for those components. And then our activated sludge is rated at 10 million gallons per day. So the 2 of those together gets to our full treatment capacity of 12.5. So this here is a little video we put together. It kind of runs you through the wastewater treatment process. From the start of wastewater coming into the plant, and then how it goes through, and then ultimately where the water and the solids end up. So this is kind of in lieu of taking a physical on-the-ground tour of the facility, especially now when it's 115 degrees out there. This is much cooler, so hopefully the video will run.
Thank you for visiting Valley Sanitary District. As we head over to the beginning of the wastewater journey, we will see our 1 megawatt solar facility that currently offsets about half of the plant's current demand, reducing our energy consumption, relieving stress on the power grid, and reducing our carbon footprint. We will now take you on the wastewater journey as we separate the liquids from the solids. Wastewater enters the treatment plant through the collection system pipeline directly to our influent pump station. Initial bar screening removes large debris, such as rags, sticks, and other large objects, to prevent damage to subsequent equipment. The wastewater flows through a grit chamber where sand, gravel, and other heavy inorganic solids settle out. Wastewater enters primary clarifiers where heavier solids settle to the bottom, forming primary sludge. Lighter materials like grease and oil float to the surface and are skimmed off. The clarified water, known as primary effluent, moves to the next stage. Primary effluent is mixed with a microbial-rich sludge called return activated sludge, RAS, in the aeration basin. Air or oxygen is supplied to maintain aerobic conditions, promoting microbial activity that breaks down organic matter. The mixture flows to secondary clarifiers where the activated sludge, biomass, settles out. The clear water on top, called secondary effluent, is sent to the disinfection process. A portion of the settled sludge, RAS, is returned to the aeration basin to maintain the microbial population. The excess sludge, called waste-activated sludge, WAS, is removed for further processing. The treated secondary effluent is disinfected, using chlorine to kill remaining pathogens before discharging into the environment. The plant discharges the treated effluent into the whitewater storm channel. We now return to the solids management process, beginning with the digesters. The sludge is fed into anaerobic digesters, where bacteria break down organic material in the absence of oxygen, producing biogas, mainly methane and carbon dioxide, and reducing the sludge volume. This process stabilizes the sludge, reduces pathogens, and generates useful biogas. Biogas produced in the digesters can be captured and used as a renewable energy source to power the plant or for other purposes. The plant currently uses biogas to fuel the boiler, which maintains temperature in the digester. The digested sludge is further dewatered using belt filter presses to produce a cake-like material. The dewatered sludge, now called biosolids, is transported to Arizona and used in compost or land applied as fertilizer. Thank you for taking this journey through the Valley Sanitary District Wastewater Treatment Plant. We are proud to serve the Coachella Valley by ensuring a healthy environment and providing a bright future for our community.
So that's kind of your wastewater 101, takes you right through the whole process. A lot of construction we have currently going on out at the plant, and we'll get to that a little bit there. So some of the information in there we're showing you new equipment that's not quite yet operational, but a lot of activities going on out at the facility right now. A little bit about our financials. So this is our current budget. Started July 1. Just under $20 million operating budget. That includes our wages, services, supplies, material, debt payments. Capital budget's a little high right now due to a large project. But with that large project, we also have 22 other capital projects. And the largest one is our recycled water phase 1. We also have a sewer siphon replacement project getting ready to kick off or go out to bid. We are in design on a biosolids management project, very interesting, cutting edge project. And then, as you can imagine, being 100 years old, we've got a lot of pipes that are very old throughout the city that need rehabilitation and replacement on a regular basis. So that's an ongoing program that'll go into perpetuity. So how does the dollar break down? So, for all intents and purposes, we're a nonprofit, and so every dollar we revenue goes right back into our system. So every dollar gets broken down in this fashion. 67% of it is allocated to our capital improvement program. 14% is for our services and overhead utility costs. Salaries and benefits, 11%, and then our loan payments, our debt is 8%. The recycled water project, so this is the one I was talking a little bit about. So phase 1, $81 million project, about a 3-year design build contract. We are about halfway through the project right now. The large components of the project are additional bar screens, a new grit chamber to replace an older technology. We are getting a second digester and a second flare, a new sludge thickening process, which we currently do not have as part of our process, so that'll be something brand new for our team. And then you can imagine with all of that, there's electrical upgrades that need to take place in order to run all of that equipment. All of that, phase one, was really intended to get prepared for phase two. And phase two is where the rubber really meets the road with sustainability in our opinion. The project entails taking 1 million gallons per day of the treated effluent. We currently are sending between 5 and 6 million gallons per day out to the stormwater channel. So we'll take 1 million gallons of that, kind of a side stream, and then we will treat that to tertiary levels, which will then be able to use for non-potable reuse, such as irrigation. And we are currently discussing opportunities with the local tribe to get the golf course delivered, the recycled water delivered to the golf course. One of the things and the reasons why we're targeting that is because we already have infrastructure underneath the channel and underneath the freeway that connects the tribe ground or tribe property to our facility. So several $1 million worth of infrastructure. It's been there for a few years. And so we need to take advantage of that. So great opportunity, and that is our next phase of the project. We're currently in feasibility, doing a feasibility study on this project, so that way we can get approval through the Bureau of Reclamation and be in line for some funding when we get ready to pull the trigger and start construction. This project won't, if everything goes according to schedule, it'll start sometime probably in 2026. If everything goes perfect, which most likely it won't, but that's the plan. The next project, which is really neat, is our existing or our biosolids management project. So our existing biosolids process, as mentioned in the video, is once it gets out of the digester, goes into a belt press. We squeeze as much of the liquid out of the solids as possible, and then we dry it on site and use the nature to dry it out for us. We windrow it, and then we stockpile it, and then ultimately load it up and haul it to Arizona for use in Arizona as compost or land applied. Question I always get is, why Arizona? Well, the regulations are much less than they are here, and so it's easier and less expensive, and so always trying to keep our customer costs down. Our ratepayer, costs within reason, so we always look for the best opportunity. With that being said, Arizona's been talking for several years about changing the regulation. I think they're getting to the point where they're probably tired of taking our stuff, and they're going to eventually either make it more costly, or they're going to regulate us out of being able to deliver and dispose of our biosolids across the state line. That's going to impact pretty much everybody. Most of the wastewater agencies in Southern California currently drive right past us and head over to Arizona and deliver almost to the same location. And I think probably a majority of them use Synagro, the same as what we do. Well respected and one of the largest biosolids handling and hauling companies in this area. So. We spend about $400,000 a year just in the trucking, and as part of our process, when we dry it, and because we pay per ton to have it delivered, so the drier we can get it, the better off it is from a cost standpoint. So we definitely take advantage of that, the heat that we have in order to get it nice and light when it gets hauled away. So what we've done, knowing that Arizona is potentially looking at new regulations, we looked at some opportunities. What can we do, and how can we control, our future, and not rely on the unknown in Arizona? So we teamed up with a company called Listec. They're based out of Canada. They actually have installations here in the United States and elsewhere. The closest installation is up in the Bay Area. It's in Fairfield. Just outside, I think just east of the Bay, and they've been there for about 8 to 10 years roughly. And what they do is they take the biosolids out of, as an example, out of the belt press, that type of material, They take that and they run it through a thermal hydrolysis process, which then converts this biosolid into a certified liquid fertilizer. They've gone through the process to get it USDA certified, and then ultimately becomes a fertilizer for farm ground. And up north, where they're currently in operation, the reports, all of the data is showing that the nutrients that is provided through this form of fertilizer is better and produces a higher yield than the normal chemical fertilizer that farmers have been using for years. So it's a proven technology, but it's just not down here in Southern California. So we're going to be the first to have it, and hopefully it's an opportunity for us in the future, not only for our facility, but for maybe other wastewater agencies as well. As I mentioned, most of them drive right by our exit. We're about a mile probably less than a mile off of the freeway. So you imagine the carbon offsets of trucks going to Arizona when they could pull in and drop it here at our facility. We would then treat it and utilize it on the farm ground, which is not too far away. So we're in a perfect location to kind of be a regional opportunity for other wastewater agencies. So we're excited. Just kicked off. We did a 1.5 years, maybe even longer, a feasibility study to determine if this was viable and a feasible option for us, and it came back positive. So we just about, I think, 2 meetings ago, our board of directors approved a design contract with Listec, and if everything moves forward again as planned, we'll probably be in construction in 2026 with this project as well. Now on to the solar project. So we have, you saw in the video, a 1 megawatt solar array. It was commissioned in 2018. We contracted this through a power purchase agreement, or a PPA. It's a 20-year agreement, and I believe it has 2 5-year extensions if both the district and the solar company so choose to extend it. Originally it was through Solar City, was who constructed it, designed it, constructed it, built it. That's who our agreement was with. They have since then sold it to Tesla, and so now we work directly with Tesla. As you can imagine, it definitely helps relieve some of the stress off the power grid as we pull from the solar panels, reduces our carbon footprint, and it's a benefit for our district because of the savings, the cost savings for our ratepayers. So I want to get into a little more detail on the solar. So I pulled up our dashboard and took some snippets from our dashboard since the beginning in 2018, January, when it started. You can kind of see here the gray is our demand, and this is for the year, broken down by month. And so the blue is the produced solar, and then the gray is the demands. So high return at 65%, offset. I think it's a little high, so I'm validating the numbers, but it's close. And keep in mind, since you'll see a little bit of a decline as we go through the years, and that's because we're adding more equipment to our facility, but we're not adding more solar. So the solar stays, consistent, but as we grow and add technology into our facility, the demands go up. 2019, very similar at 57% of energy offset. 2020, not much change, a little bit of a reduction down to 54%. 2021, we actually bumped back up to 59%, which I think there's some numbers I need to verify when you look at the November and December. Fairly low in the production of solar, but we had an increase in our overall demands. 2022, pretty consistent again with January and December. Some of the reduction in the solar production is based on 2 things: time of year, less intense sunlight, but we've also had, some issues where they've had to do some maintenance, cleaning of the solar panels, which is interesting according to Tesla, our partner, that there is not a significant change between the prior to cleaning the panels versus immediately after they're cleaned. A slight increase, but not enough to, really, boast a more often, cleaning program. So, but it does have a small impact. And then 2023, once again, very consistent on our demands. A little bit more fluctuation on the solar array. And then this is the part of the year of 2024. I was able to get it through June. We had the last 2 months. We've had one of the major transformers was down on the solar array, and so they've been working on that. So you can see it's about half production. To give you a little bit, I kind of pulled off one day in 2024 to give you a sense of how the solar works for us, because there's always this like, oh, just add more solar or change the way you operate the plant. Well, it's kind of hard to change the way we operate the plant because the wastewater comes in and I can't decide when I'm going to turn the pumps off and turn them back on. The flows coming in the plant tell me how to operate it. So you can kind of see on a daily average the gray area. It's pretty consistent. And where the dip is, at 4, 5, 6 in the morning, that's our lowest flow of the day. It's first thing in the morning right before people get up and start showering and getting ready for work. So that's consistent with what you should see. But then you see the demand, or not the demand, the production for the solar, which falls in to what I think you would expect to see. As the sun comes up early in the morning, you start to ramp up your production. Midday, about noon, you got your highest production, and then it ramps back off. So, it's we're about as maxed out as we can be on solar, not only from a demand standpoint, but also, from our agreement with the local utility. So what's next for the district? So we've got, beyond our phase 2 of our recycled water, non-potable reuse from a sustainability standpoint is trying to utilize more recycled water locally. So that would include additional side stream treatment, as well as partnering with, there's 3 more golf courses on that same side of the freeway is the one we're first targeting. And so we have, I think, a great opportunity to continue to do so and expand that recycled water program. In doing so, obviously, we offset, either pumped water out of the basin or imported water through the Colorado River system, the aqueduct system. So anything we can do is going to offset and benefit the ratepayers here in the valley. We're looking at battery storage. Battery storage is one of the things that I think we can, if I go back to this slide here, you can see where we can help take some of the peak off the end, the shoulders, if you will, because we can use the battery storage to feed the plant when the solar's not on. So that's something that we're looking into in the future as additional opportunity. Cogenerate, so biogas cogen. So not only we currently have the digesters which create the methane gas, we utilize that currently to run our boiler. The digesters need to be, they're kind of like your stomach. They need to be kept right about 100 degrees. So not a problem right now. In the wintertime, we do use our boiler to run hot water, circulate it through, and keep them warm. But as we move forward, with the adding our the Listec project, we will be creating more biogas, and so then incorporating a cogen system where actually the biogas will feed into an engine that then runs it creates energy, and then we'll use that on site right at the facility. I've done that before, and it's actually probably it's more sustainable than what the solar was, because it's not based on how well the sun is being absorbed by the panels. The regional biosolids treatment and reuse, talked a little bit about that. Once our project is successful, I think it's gonna evolve into a regional opportunity for other wastewater agencies. The facility up north that Listec is currently operating, they have more demand for their fertilizer than they have enough material to provide. So I think there's great opportunity for that in the future from a regional standpoint, well beyond what we can do at our specific facility. And then if opportunity does present itself, then we could add additional solar due to the increased demands that we have in negotiating with our local power provider. The last thing I have is just a little something about our 100-year celebration. We are doing a big event at the Coachella Valley History Museum. It's going to be on November the 20th, 2025, so about 18 months out. And we'll be celebrating our 100 years of existence and here in the Coachella Valley. So we're excited about that. I know it's a little ways away, but we're planning for it now. It's going to be here before we know it. I think that is it. Yeah, that's all I got, and more than happy to take any questions.
Commissioners?
Just one or two, just onset distinguishing between the Indio Water Authority and the Valley Sanitation District. Are they, their focus is potable water supply, and is that what it is, and yours is wastewater?
That's correct. So Indio Water Authority is underneath the umbrella of the city governance, and they provide the potable water. We are completely independent and standalone special district, and all we do is wastewater. Yeah.
Okay, and that's sewage and industrial, or what?
Correct, yeah. So both residential, commercial, industrial, retail. So anywhere there's a business or resident or people working, playing, or sleeping, living, they're connected to the sewer. It comes to our facility.
Okay, and they have to get permits from you for discharge?
That is correct,
Okay.
yep. So we, new construction will come in and we'll get approval and get them connected to the system. Existing industrial users, we have a industrial compliance program that they have to be part of, and we regulate them different than a residential home, but we have a program that they'll be part of, and we'll monitor their flows coming into our system.
So there are a set of regulations somewhere that for the, under what are the regulations under? What are the?
For the industrial users?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have it on our website,
Okay.
and yeah, you can go on there and see. So we regulate the concentrations of, the flows coming out of the industrial or commercial users, and so we have limits on what we can accept, and so we'll monitor what their flows are, and then we charge them according to what they discharge to our system.
Okay, thanks. I've got a couple more questions, but I'll let the other commissioners go.
No, please, just finish up, yeah?
No,
Yeah.
okay, well.
Rapid fire.
Yeah, right,
The
yeah.
purple pipes, the reuse situation, you've talked quite a bit about that. And I think I've seen some purple pipes running along Werner, I want to say, Varner, or something like that, but I don't really see anything down here.
Correct, yeah. So we currently in our service area, we do not have any non-potable reuse, so we no purple pipes at this point.
Okay.
So this phase 2 of that recycled water project will be the first for us in providing the recycled water for irrigation. Further up, in Coachella Valley Water District, they have some purple pipe.
Do the farmers use that?
They could. I don't know if they are currently using it. We definitely are not providing it, but
Right.
they could be using it from others.
From other places, yeah, because I would think at the time when we're all, water is, as they say, such a fuss about water. Understandably, we're all in that situation here. But I'd say, kudos, well done. I mean, obviously we all want the reuse, because the more reuse, the less demand on potable water, so better it makes it for all of us. So, and every question that I had, you're already doing battery storage, every single thing. The only thing I can't figure out is why generation drops off in December, in December and January. I can figure out why the demand would increase because of the additional loading from visitors, right?
Yep.
But I can't figure out why the generation would drop off that much.
Yeah, so two reasons. Some of it in the wintertime are the solar is not as intense, and we've had, unfortunately, some of our downtime is during that. We've had a couple of issues with the solar production in itself, so not as much related to the sun as just
Right.
equipment,
Okay.
issues. So a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty. Thank you. So very informative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I guess we'll just go in order. Couple questions, if I may. Listec up north, it's in full operations in the Bay Area?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the cost of taking it to Listec versus Arizona, do you know?
Yes, so we, as part of the return on investment, the feasibility report that we did, we have determined that, so we spend roughly, as I'd mentioned on the slide, about $400,000 per year just to haul it off. That doesn't include what we do on site for drying it and loading it, dealing with it, handling it, and whatnot. So probably throw another $100,000 to $150,000 on top of that. So we're probably spending about $550,000 a year, all in cost to deal with that biosolids. The ROI on the Listec project is right around that $500,000 range. So that's what we determined based on the current capital cost. So capital cost and the operating and management of that facility is going to cost us about the same.
Okay. And one thing I found interesting was how you pivoted to maybe in time we would be able to take some of California's waste here in the Coachella Valley because of our farmland. Do we know what we would charge to accept waste product from elsewhere?
Great question. So we haven't run the scenarios on that or the feasibility on that, but I think once we get our facility in operation, because the regional facility would be a standalone. So it would be, we have about 80 acres of property that the district has, and we're only using about 50 of it currently. And so we have the opportunity to build a standalone facility that would be that regional opportunity. We would most likely partner with Listec on that as well, and then we would hire them to manage and operate that. What we're finding is that, to kind of answer the question, we're finding that the cost or what we're potentially charging the farmers is less than what they're currently paying for the chemical fertilizer. So that's going to be that
Sweet spot.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot. So you need to be competitive and provide a better product, and as so long as you can do that, then that kind of backs into what it is that Listec will be able to charge for tipping or dumping at the facility. So to be determined.
Thank you for that. Last question. With the Tesla contract, you mentioned that there's 2 5-year extensions. Can it be exercised by either side, or does it have to be concurred upon by both sides to accept the extension?
Great question. I don't know if I brought that page with me. I'd have to look and see. The exhibit that I have here says subject to mutual agreement on the contract.
So that sounds like both sides have to.
That's what I would say, but that's just my exhibit. I would have to get into the the nuts and bolts of the contract.
Thank you for your hard work.
Yep, thank you.
My turn?
Yes, sir.
Your electric provider is IID, correct?
That is correct.
And according to some of your internet information, about 42% of your power is coming from the solar right now, approximately, on an average basis, I'm guessing.
That sounds about right.
About right?
Yeah.
And did you say you have solar storage batteries on site, or do you
Not-
do you sell it back to IID at all, any energy?
So we do. So we have net energy metering as part of the agreement with IAD. So we do, as you saw that daily peak, I think on the last slide, during the middle of the day, so probably 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock, we do produce more than we use, so that will go back and feed into the grid, but then it offsets kilowatt hour per kilowatt hour for us as that net energy metering.
Okay, great.
But we don't, to answer the other question, we do not currently have battery storage yet. That's the next item on our list.
And the recycled water project, phase 1 is about halfway done, you said, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then phase 2, are you talking the golf courses like Eagle Golf Course over by Fantasy Springs? Is that
Yep,
the first
that
one?
that is correct.
And then
Yep.
Terralago, probably, and
Yep.
then the lights?
And then Indio, yep.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a great savings when we get that, get all that
Yeah.
installed. Let's see, what else? On your biosolids, I'm guessing you're not getting any revenue from the biosolids you're shipping out to Arizona. It's basically a lost
Correct.
scenario.
Yeah, right now it's a liability, and so we're just trying to dispose of it. By doing this project, we're going to turn it into a resource where it becomes something that, people want. So it's a complete 180, degree flip on how we manage biosolids.
So your current process of handling the biosolids and drying it out and then shipping it and loading and shipping it, what is the main difference on that other system with Listec as far as what do they do in that process that changes it from what you guys end up with, the end product, into a product you can sell into liquid fertilizer? How does that?
That's a great question. I wish I could get into the details, but they go through this, hydrolysis process that, converts it, it removes pathogens, and then, takes it kind of to this next level of treatment. Then it becomes, this usable, material. In order to really kind of dive into the details of how they do it, I'd have to bring them on board
Sure.
and give you the details of,
Right.
what their process is, and it's proprietary, obviously. So they're a little close to the vest.
Sure,
with it.
absolutely. Okay. Let's see, what else? I think that's all the questions I had for you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming, first of all. You said that 50 acres are in use and you have 80 acres total. How many acres are going to be dedicated to Listic and the process itself?
So for our facility, the footprint is probably, it's not very big. It's very, very small. So I'm going to guess maybe 10,000 square foot. So it's a small footprint for ours, depending on, from the regional standpoint, depending on how many regional players there will be, they would have an opportunity to modular, expand the facility. Probably, we're actually going to go up when it cools off and visit their facility up north and see the land application and see their current facility. I've seen pictures of it, and it's not much bigger than City Hall footprint is, so it's pretty confined. The additional component would be the storage tank, and so they have to have potential. Our facility is going to need a 1 million gallon storage tank, so that's a decent size. The regional, they may have a couple 1 million gallon tanks, but I would say a couple acres max. I don't think it's going to take up much room.
Oh, that's good. You answered my question. Then you also answered another question I had about tours and going over there. So you guys are going to tour when it cools down.
Oh yeah. So we actually do tours now. It's a little hot, but we still do them.
I was saying of Listic up there. You're going to tour.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So I was talking to our partners with Listec, and I want to get my board of directors up there.
Good.
But I want it to cool off a little bit before we because I want to actually go out into the field and see it land applied, you know,
Great.
by the farmers. And so we'll do that once it cools off.
Great, and then the other question I had, I saw in the brochure under biosolids, you guys going to go to different type of handling. Does that include centrifuges?
No, we're not doing centrifuge.
So you're just going to go bio with the belt presses? and
Belt
stuff?
press, yep. So it'll come right off our belt press into the Listec process.
Okay, and so you're going to stay for future needs with the presses instead of the centrifuges?
Correct, yeah.
Great.
The Listec process needs a little more moisture
Yes.
than I think what comes out of the centrifuge. Yeah.
That's what I was figuring. Okay, great. That concludes my questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I did have one last question, if I could.
I do too.
I'm curious on your billing. Now, it goes through, we're billed for your services through our property tax.
Yes.
Through Riverside County.
Yep.
And I'm just curious, why is it that avenue versus all the other utilities that we pretty much are customers of, they bill us direct? How was that worked out initially?
Great question. I don't know, initially how it was set up. I'd have to bring one of our longest standing board members in. I think he was part of the process, Bill Teague. He's been with the district for 60 years, I think 30 years as a general manager, 30 years as a board of directors. I believe during his general management reign is when they actually got it on to the tax roll for collecting the service charge. It's very similar to, like, I think Burtech, same way. They're on the tax roll.
Right.
The beauty of it, and it's a great question, but by doing so we go through the county, and it costs actually very minimal for us to work with our consultant and the county to get it on the tax roll. What does that mean for our ratepayers? Well, I don't have entire staff that are printing bills on a monthly basis and sending them out and then trying to collect. And so ultimately, by doing it this way, we actually save money for our constituents because we have less overhead costs.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks.
If I could interject on that, I know some of the other sanitary districts bill that way. When you direct bill like that, because some people were putting it on the water bill, which included, the sewer was included in the water bill. But when people walk away or they rent houses, they don't pay, so you don't get that revenue. So what you do is you put the onus on the property owner, and the bill is always paid yearly. So it does save money to the ratepayers.
And my last question, Jason, is really on community outreach. Looking on your website a little bit, I see that there are grants that individuals can get to assist with repair of their sewer lines. Anything else, if you want to expand on that, or just since this goes out on YouTube, you want to let the community know about?
Yeah, no, great question. So we have, to give a little bit of context to that, so the Valley Sanitary District, we own the main line sewer, and the homeowner or business owner or property owner owns from that connection to all the way into the house. So sometimes that sewer is in the middle of the street, and if there's a repair that needs to occur on that sewer lateral, the homeowner or the property owner is required to do that repair. If it's under the street or under the sidewalk, it gets very expensive. And so we created this grant program, sewer lateral grant program, to assist individuals that need help in doing those type of repairs. And it can be costly if depending on where that sewer main is at. And so we offer that. We don't, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's not good for the homeowner from a cost standpoint. So we do what we can to help them out. So that's the one grant that I think you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, just, letting the community know how they can be helped by the district, so, yeah, great, thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more question. I just wanted to tell Valley Sanitary District, thank you. We had a presentation about 3 months ago where we talked about fats, oils, and grease. I was able to get some little goodies from Valley San, the little can covers, the pan scrapers and stuff like that with Valley Sanitary logo. But it was in conjunction with, we were offering a little trash can for grease receptacles, right, Sarah? Weren't we doing that? Yeah, so again, thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely, yep, thank you. All right,
Mr. Dafford, thank you for your time. We know it's valuable.
yes, thank you. No, I appreciate you allowing me to come here and telling you a little bit about what we do and how we do it. So thank you, much appreciated.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right. 6.1 action items. Sarah?
Thank you. This item is to consider the waste consultant proposals that we received for the True Zero Waste consultant for businesses in the city of Indio to help them with a lot of the new legislations and the new costs for waste disposal to move more towards zero waste, which can support the businesses. The staff recommendation is to recommend one of the proposals to city council, but of course the commissioners have all the freedom to scale, defer, or even whatever you all are comfortable with decision that you want to make. The costs for these proposals will be paid from the AB 939 funds. Those are funds that are set aside for waste diversion. They have to be legally set aside for that. They can't be used for other things. So these costs will not impact the general fund. And this is a PSA, which means we are asking you to consider the best qualified consultant. There are no presentations tonight. However, there are representatives from both of the proposers that are on Zoom that are able to answer questions if you have any.
Thank you. I'll open the floor to the commissioners.
I can get started. So we have some folks on Zoom, did you say?
That is correct.
Okay, I don't know if they want to identify themselves, but essentially, I saw two responses there, all about waste and SBM management services. Both companies seem to have very qualified folks, project leads, and support to do the work. Where I wondered a little bit was between maybe, I don't recall what was in the request for proposal and the response. To me, what would work is what was in the SBM response, which is a preliminary cost to reach out, do outreach, inform the businesses, determine which businesses would volunteer, as opposed to the way that I read the first proposal from All About Waste was just launching into it with 5 businesses, and I don't really see how you get those 5 businesses without doing outreach first. So it seems to me as though we should have a 2-tiered approach or 2-phased approach, which the first phase is outreach to the businesses, and then you refine, depends on who responds and their availability and whatnot, then you refine the second part of the cost, because what if you don't have 5 businesses? You first have to know what you have before you can finalize the cost. So the first proposal I read said, looks like it was about 29 to 34K per location. The second proposal had a preliminary of 38K and a total, and then for the project work it was 43K. So it wasn't really comparing apples and apples.
I do want to let you know that when we put out the proposal or the RFP, the initial outreach was not part of that proposal.
Okay.
So they're not necessarily bidding on that. And that wasn't, so they wouldn't, I guess that not being there was how the proposal was written. So
it
they
was
weren't supposed to.
on our side. But
Yeah.
the second company, SBM, well, I should say second, it's in our package as the second one. But SBM thought to put that in as an option, a preliminary cost of $38K for doing this preliminary outreach and engagement. Do you see which, maybe I should find the specific page? So,
The specific page, because I was seeing different numbers.
is that right? So
So-
the specific page is $38K that I saw was.
But there was some other add-ons, and you're just talking solely about the outreach or the total project cost?
So on page 52 of 69, this company has project kickoff. So they have a project kickoff phase, which is planning, coordination, on-site meeting, workshops, initial visits. And then it says on-site travel includes 5 core members, 4 days on-site, 5 whatever. And it comes out to $38K. And then you go into the project phase. So the way that I'm thinking about it, well, if that's not how we do it, you tell me how we do it with just, I mean, unless we already have the companies selected, do we? I don't know.
No, what we're asking is for for you commissioners tonight to consider which one you might want to send to city council.
Yeah.
The promotion it's a PSA, so it's not necessarily easy to put one to the other, but they do have, both of them I think do have optional services, including the additional like initial outreach.
Yeah, I just don't see where however you do it, whoever does it, doesn't matter to me. There's just no way you just walk down here and 5 companies just jump up. So you have to have a preliminary outreach educational phase where you invite a whole bunch of folks and see who wants to apply before you get started. There's no other way to do it that I can think of, just logically. So that was my catch, and I see that the other company, All About Waste, also has some contingencies, some additional costs there. So we would have to, if we were selecting that as an option, we would. To me, that I don't say you have to, but it's logic. It would. I don't see how you would get started, because 5 people aren't just going to walk in the door.
No.
So you have to have that preliminary planning phase. There's no way around it.
Yes, but I will say that we did not ask for them to add that into the proposal. So in the RFP, we started the process with the idea that there were 5 businesses on board. And that was because to make it something that was easier to compare.
So we would have to go back to All About Waste, and then I don't know if that stage is in here, and ask them which of they do have some options in there that you can pick from. Which of those additional, they listed on page 37 of 69, somewhere in there, some additional services, how that planning phase, this is just my opinion, how that planning phase could be worked into that planning and outreach and contact, the project selection phase can be worked into their bid. I just don't, there's just no way to me to get it magically. You have
Chair?
to have that stage. Go
Chair,
ahead.
may I?
Please.
Good point, and I understand your point, but I think we should stick to the scope of the work and the scope of the aspect that we're asked, because the other companies, they weren't asked to provide that. But again, good point, but I think we should stick to the scope and pick what we need to do based on the RFP.
And to that, I would have liked to see the RFP included in the packet, so we could see the language of it. Because the bids are quite different, and so if we saw the language the city was using, what they were asking for, it might have helped us come to a better decision. They're so different, I feel uncomfortable making a decision without seeing the RFP myself.
I understand.
Yeah.
I concur. Also, I have a question on the funds. Is there a timetable where they have to be used by a certain time frame or date? Do we know that?
No, there is not.
Okay. Personally, myself, I would like to defer this, table it to the next meeting, and have more time for myself to research this and the proposals. And then also, the bottom line would be, if we come back in August and maybe have a brief Zoom meeting with each of these companies, because I really don't even know who I'm dealing with. I have the bios and all that, but I like, I'm old school. I like to see a face with the proposals and have some explanation. And if we have questions also, we can ask them at that time. That would be my preference. And are we under an obligation to have, before we present something to city council, to have at least 3 bids? Is that required at all?
No, not, this is a professional services agreement, so in this case, no.
Okay.
Just on that note, can we delay this? Is this time sensitive, or can it be delayed to the next meeting?
It can be delayed to the next meeting, of course. You shouldn't make, staff isn't going to ask you to make a decision you're not comfortable with. It's taken a while, and both of these companies have been holding on for a good while, but that's, if we need to, you need to make the decisions that are comfortable for you, and I need to have that behind me when I go to city council so if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
So to echo my colleagues' sentiments, I concur 100%. I think we need to see the RFP. So if you could email that to us sooner rather than later so we could just study that while looking at this paperwork and while looking at the proposals, that would help us differentiate. And I do agree with Vice Chair that we should, I know these companies are not local. If we could at least have them on Zoom, like a couple of representatives are now, after we see the RFP and ask the questions then, I think we can make a more educated decision at that time. So I agree that we should table it till August.
And last question on this. Regarding the city council, so we would at some point choose one of these, or would we put them both forward and let the city council make that decision? How would that work?
You would make the recommendation, but ultimately the city council makes the final decision.
So our recommendation can be taken.
Would be for one.
Or it might not.
Or it might not.
Right. There is someone who would like to speak.
Please.
Sure.
Could they identify themselves, please?
Yes. Hi, this is Denise Brown. I'm the founder and principal of All About Waste. First of all, I want to thank you all for your time and considering our proposal. I do have one of my senior project managers who is also in the call. Her name is Emily DeCreamer. She's actually located really close to the city of Indio, and she can be attending in person, so you can have a face. I'm located in Los Angeles. I will be happy to drive and meet you in person as well. So just want to offer that.
I appreciate that, Denise. Thank you so much for that. And I think we will take you up on that.
And one more.
Hi, this is Amy Martman with SBM. And then just echoing, I think, what Denise had said, Sue Beats Atkinson is in the Northern California area, but, she can be present or one of our other project team leads for that conversation as well, in addition to having other team members available by Zoom when you guys are ready to talk further about that.
I appreciate your willingness to do that. Anything else from the commission? Are we all in agreement that we should see the RFP and?
Yes.
Here, okay.
I do have a question, and that's for Sarah and the bidders. If we do not have a preliminary phase, a kickoff phase where we open it up to businesses to do the selection. If that's not going to be the job of the consultant, because that wasn't in the RFP, who's gonna do that?
It would be done in-house. It would
Okay,
by
so-
city staff.
Okay, so the plan is for city staff to do that ahead of this. Okay, that's fine. If somebody's gotta do it.
I'm just curious too, Sarah, when did we receive these proposals? Was that recently, or?
No, it's been several months since we received these.
Okay, can I ask, why are we now seeing it today?
This went through a pretty heavy screening process and back and forth between staff, and then ultimately passed on to the commissioners. But it was the screening process that mostly took the time.
Were these were the only two companies that proposed a bid?
Correct.
I imagine there's not many companies that do that type of work, but okay.
Okay, the other comment or question that I have is on the All About Waste proposal. We have basically a task and a lump sum fees, and I could not get a breakdown on estimated hours. So it's, again, very difficult to compare. So any recommendations, Sarah, on how we compare these? Because if someone says, two people save $5,000 and someone is spending 20 hours versus someone spending 2 hours, that's really a difference in work product. Because we have no hourly rate for All About Waste. So am I missing something?
Well, just to interject, if you look at the scope of the work, and then you look at the schedule, okay, and then that schedule and the scope of the work can combine to give you a rough estimate, and they have deliverables on the proposal. So those three coupled together gives you a general idea.
Not really. So, not for me. Sarah?
So what you're asking to see is like a breakdown of hourly costs for
Yeah, just a rate sheet for All
rate
About
sheet.
Waste. If they want to include it. If that's just not their way of doing things, then that's fine also. But when I look at bids, I like to see the hourly rate or hours so that I know what I'm comparing.
These two bidders have taken of their time after hours to be here, and I appreciate that, and I want to be sensitive to their time. So if we can make sure that we have an RFP sooner rather than later, and then if we could, for August, have them on Zoom or in person, whichever they prefer, so we can ask questions based on what we've learned from the RFP versus the proposal, that would be wonderful.
So do we need a motion to table?
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes, please.
I will move to table this action on the zero waste consultant selection until the next August meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I make 4. Thank you. All right, discussion items, EV chargers.
I just wanted to give you an update. We did a while ago put in a proposal for the EV charging grant, the CFI charging grant, and that closed and we were not funded. However, round 2 has opened up and we have resubmitted our grant application. And also, apparently, there were some funds left over from the first round, so we threw the application back in for that as well. It'll probably be several months before we hear anything, but there is at least, we are still working on the EV charging grant. And then for the Eco Hero show, I have the update in your packet. It is their recap of the year in Indio so far, or completed. The next would be for the school year beginning next year.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on either of those?
I think the Eco Hero program is great for younger kids and students to become more aware of sustainability. So it's a great program.
Okay. All right, we're to the portion of the meeting for commissioner reports. Sir?
I can go. I attended the 4th of July event that the city of Indio put on. It was a great event. It was well attended. Everything went without a hitch, and you could just see people enjoying themselves. There was plenty of waste receptacles there for trash and stuff. That's kind of one thing that I always look at. And again, kudos to staff and everybody. It looks like everybody had a good time. On that note, was kind of going through some recycled water stuff and also some conservation. We kind of need to let the public know, and we do a good job on our website, but we might want to maybe insert some flyers into the bills and stuff, because 80% of residential water is used outdoors. So we need to focus on outdoor water conservation and use, which is a common fact. You guys probably know that already. The website, again, if we can tout the website via mailers so people can see a lot of good information on there. I went through it and stuff. And then the zero waste is going to be interesting. I'm hoping that comes to fruition. Those are all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
Okay, this is an action-packed meeting tonight, right, folks?
Yes.
So you probably all got this in the mail from IID. It's their residential weatherization program. Came this month. I actually took advantage of that last year, and they came in and replaced some weather stripping on my exterior doors and did a great job. The gentleman was very courteous, very professional. So they also can install fans and things of that sort. So if anybody wants to upgrade their home, this is definitely a worthwhile program. It's totally free. So just contact IID on their website or through this flyer, and then set up an appointment. And then also, I gave everybody a handout. I don't have a slide on this. This is a new program that the state of California is piloting. It's called California Road Charge. They were taking applications in the month of June. They close at the end of June. So basically what they're looking at is a pilot program with all the additional EVs coming out in the market. The diesels and gasoline engines are going to start decreasing. So the state is concerned about the revenues coming in from state gas tax on your gasoline and your diesel fuels. So they're looking at a program for the EV type drivers and also gas vehicle drivers to maybe eliminate the gas tax, but put everybody on a monthly fee to make up the shortfall. And this is a program they're going to test. I did apply for it. I haven't heard back. It's going to start August 1st. So hopefully it didn't go in my junk mail, but I contacted them. I'm waiting to hear a response. But it's a program that's available to different people wherever in California. There's no criteria other than if you're interested in doing it. So they will track my mileage, and every month I give them a report. There is a small reimbursement on the program. So if I do get selected, I'll give everybody a follow-up next month on that. Okay, and this is a nice tour I took. This was back in April. This was at the Desert Water Agency in Palm Springs. They offer some nice tours every year, and I did the April tour of the valley. They do an AM and a PM tour on that date. It's a 3-hour tour. They give you a little goodie bag. They give you a little flyer in here. Basically, it's a lot of what I have on the slides here. So you all get this information. There's a water bottle in here, a little scarf thing, whatever. Give that to my wife, I guess. But they also provide water, and basically they take you around in a chartered air-conditioned bus, and they take you through all the different sites. And next slide. So this was the first stop, or not the first stop, but this is what they took us in, as an air-conditioned tour bus. We had about 30 people, and you didn't have to be a customer of Desert Water. Anybody can go to this tour. So we had about 30 people, and this picture I'll get into later. Next slide, please. This was the first stop, well 39. They have 27 active wells like this throughout the Palm Springs area. This was an underground well, so basically you can walk down this stairwell down into where the pump room is, and that's where they pump the water from the aquifer up into the well, and then they take the water and transport it out to the consumers. And so there's these are all photographs I took and put them in a PowerPoint. That's why some of these are kind of disjointed. The picture on the right basically was a sign. They have these nice exhibit signs that kind of walk you through each step and what you're looking at. Next slide. This was the upper valley or upper mountain reservoir. It's halfway, about a quarter way up Mount Jacinto on the west side. So they took us up there. This is an above ground gravity well, and there's a pump room. And next slide. So what you're looking at here on the left side, that's the big above ground gravity fed well. The water is pumped up through that bottom picture there, through that pipe, up into the well. And what you see is that black thing is actually a flexible piping, so that in case of an earthquake or any ground movement, that will actually move a little bit. It has some give to it, and then that so it won't break if they have an earthquake. The other little shed there on the top right is their pumping station shed. That's a pumps that pump the water up into the well, and then there's another pressure tank which is on the right. So there are homes up there which are level with that pumping station, and they have to actually download the pressure because they're so close, and they have to also pump it from the big well through the pressure tank out to those local homes that are adjoining that area there. The rest of them are gravity fed down the mountain to the other homes and residences. Next slide. And then they took us over to they also have a recycled water plant. So they basically bring in water just like we saw with Valley Sanitary. They bring in water and then they treat it, and they make it available for using on irrigation and that type of thing. And they also have solar. Next slide. So they took us, they just talked about the solar that they do have. And again, that solar field there provides a lot of power for their actual recycling water center operations. So they've had that now for a few years. It was installed in 2005. They expanded in 2013. So they also took us to the lab, and they just explained how they test the water to make sure it's enough for it's sanitary enough for irrigation, the golf courses and soccer fields and places like that. Next slide. So that's their solar. They have 4,500 ground-mounted fixed tilt panels, and then they have 2 hydroelectric pumping stations, which we don't see on this tour. That's another tour in the fall. It's Snow Creek and then Whitewater Canyon. Next slide. And then they talked a little bit about the state water project. So we're different down here in Southern California in the valley. We don't have a direct pipeline or aqueduct from their state water project to Palm Springs or Coachella Valley. So what they do is there's some kind of a program that they offset what we don't get, and then we take our water from the Colorado River, which flows from the aqueduct into our replenishment ponds. And then next slide. So what you'll see there on the left, when the water comes in from the Colorado River through the aqueduct, it goes into a replenishment pond to the upper left there. That water basically sits and then migrates down into the aquifer, and that's how that's replenished. And then they were able to pull up water from the aquifer up into the supply wells, whether it's underground or if it's above ground. And then, so that's kind of how our water for the valley pretty much works. The next slide. And this just tells you about 70-80% of households' water is used outdoors, as Jerry mentioned. And then their community has reduced water use by more than 20%. And they actually service 62 golf courses, well, between CVWD and DWA. Next slide. So we do have some locals here, tours here by Coachella Valley Water District. So because they're more local, they do have tours that they offer coming up in 2024. Next slide. So you'll see a calendar event down below. The first one is a Sustainable Water Supply Tour. It's going to be held December 5th. And you can register. It starts on September 1st. So if you want to mark it in your calendars, it's an AM tour at 9 o'clock. So just go on site there and register if you'd like to go see the specific tour. I'll probably go on all the next 3 of these. So next slide. And then the other tours, November 7th, Domestic Water and Storm Water Tour. November 21st is the Canal and Ag Tour. And then the one I just mentioned on December 5th, Sustainable Water Supply Tour. So these are all, I think, very educational tours. I'd highly recommend everybody and the general public, if they want to learn more about their water, where it comes from. It's a worthwhile tour to go to. So I plan on having reports on these 3 too if I get to all 3 of them. But next slide, and that's the end. So, but again, it was a great tour. I learned a lot of things I didn't know, especially about our valley and how we get our water. So it's open to the public. Anybody can go online and register. They do have a limited amount, so you do have to get there soon and register online. That's all I have.
Thank you. That is very, very interesting. While I've never gone on the tour, my security firm protects all those facilities, so I've been to all of them. It's amazing when you hear and see the water rushing underneath your feet and how much water we actually have underneath us. It's actually fascinating. And I too went to the July 4th event for the city. One thing I love about Indio is how the staff integrates with our people and our constituents. And just, it was just a great event. Blazing hot, but a great event. Great event. I mean, it has to be a great event when people come out and it's blazing hot. I also had the chance to meet with Tesla. Speaking of Tesla, we talked about them earlier. Their crisis management team was here in the desert because there has been a major influx of the Tesla batteries dying much too early with the warranties in the desert with the heat we had. So they actually sent their crisis management team from up Northern California down here to inspect and do a study on why the batteries are dying so quick. And of course, we know it's because of the heat. But I found that very interesting. And that's something to watch too while we are integrating and constantly looking for ways and places and locations to put our charging stations. These batteries are just not going to last as long in the desert as they would in other places. So I found that very interesting. That concludes my report.
Could I ask a question?
You may.
That? Are they saying that because people are running their air conditioners on their cars more? Is that affecting the longevity of the...
What they found was that's the first thing that goes. Just like in a combustion engine, the first thing that shuts down is your AC because it takes the most energy. But what they found is the car's just freaking out. Doors will lock, doors will not lock, windows will not go up because when the battery's going dead, it's going dead so fast because of the heat, it doesn't have time to send the alerts to the driver that the battery is running low. It just dies.
I have heard of people getting actually locked in their car.
And that's happened out here, which is a very dangerous thing as well. Yeah.
I do not have a report. I do, however, have a question on the update of the sustainability plan that we talked about. I don't really see it on the notes from last month's meeting. Has there been any further discussion of a schedule for that, or?
No, I don't think we really talked about a schedule. I didn't bring it back tonight because I knew this was going to be a pretty packed agenda. And so the last time we met, we talked about going back through the entire work plan, like all the
Right.
way back to mission statements, things
Right.
like that, taking a look at
Right.
it, and then coming back with your thoughts on what this commission would like as far as, it was originally done by the prior commissioners who are no longer here, which doesn't make any difference. It just, if
Sure.
you have other updates like that. So it's an extra month for all of us to take a look at it and bring back comments. It will be on the agenda at the next meeting.
Okay, so you're thinking, even though we're gonna spend more time on the proposal next month, should we be ready for that next month, or do you wanna push it to September?
I could push it to September. I
It's-
guess
it's
that's up to you.
Up to the commissioners.
I would suggest pushing it to September, being that we are gonna have a full slate with this, next month.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
I assume you have no staff items, Sarah?
No.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion when you are.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Mr. Wonderful. All in favor?
Aye.
And I make for it. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, bye-bye.